The guy who has those, he actually has two of them. So
I
he
heard.
has there's two pans of the final.
And welcome back to the PokeRadar Podcast, episode 2 of the, I don't know what I'm calling this, short series of animation cells. Everybody I know and that knows me is all about trading cards, so this is completely different. I just got this new piece behind me, Majin Buu. That came in yesterday or today. Yesterday.
Crazy piece.
But my guest here, Eric, KeyframeCollector. We're gonna like we've chatted a little bit here and there about this stuff, but we're gonna this is the first time we're hanging out, so people are gonna see in real time the first day that we met.
Exciting.
Give me a quick intro of like who you are, how long you've been doing Cels, and then I'm just gonna I'm gonna ask you everything, all the basics, and I just want to learn about everything that you know about animation cells, how you got into it, all that stuff. But yeah, give me a quick intro of who you are.
Sure, man. Sure. So as you said, my name is Eric, also known as KeyframeCollector on Instagram. I've been collecting this stuff for a little over 10 years now. Probably around since 2014 is when I got into it. Funny enough, the way I discovered this hobby, I was actually just surfing YouTube videos. And I was looking at this guy's like Dragon Ball Tour collection room he had. And he was showcasing all of his different action figures, his bed sheets, his pillowcases, you name it. Anything Dragon Ball merchandise, he had it. And he was going through his room and he got to one corner where he was lifting up an animation cell. And I think it was from Dead Zone or the Garlic movie, because it was a cell of Garlic Jr. And he was like, yeah, this is an actual painting from Toei Animation that they used to make the show. And my jaw just dropped. I'm like, what are you talking about? You own a piece of the show? Like, how do you get your hands on that thing? And after that video, it was just kind of a rabbit hole down from there. Once I discovered the hobby, I just fell in love with it. I thought it was so cool that you can own a piece of the show that you grew up watching.
Yeah.
And it's not even just Dragon Ball. It's really any of those shows from the 90s or 80s or even older.
Okay.
So I've been off and on it since then. And when COVID came, about 2020 is when I really came back full force.
Yeah. Okay. That's
kind
awesome.
Of crazy.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me with cards. I think it was same time period, 2014-ish, watching YouTubers opening up old Pokemon boxes, and I just fell in deep to that. So that's interesting. I could have easily gone that direction. I could have found that video and done that instead.
You could have.
And got this stuff for a lot cheaper. But I got cards cheaper, and now I'm selling cards to buy these, so it's all the same.
There you go.
That's awesome. So it started with Dragon Ball Z then.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's kind of all I'm doing, that's all I really care about is Dragon Ball Z. I've got Pokemon stuff too, but Dragon Ball Z is where I've gone in heavy, buying a lot of these pan cells and whatever moments that I can find. But so the first thing that I ever bought was actually like a Naruto. It was an Itachi, like a couple page sheets of like the bingo book Itachi from whatever episode that is, that I just bought blindly, no idea what the prices were supposed to be. I probably overpaid for it like I did everything else. But what was the first thing that you bought? So you saw this guy with Dragon Ball Z with Garlic Jr.
Yeah.
What was the first, how did you go about, what did you buy, and like how did you go about finding to buy this stuff?
So
it's still hard to figure out.
it is. After that video, I kind of went to a research mode where, like everybody else does, they Google where they can find this stuff, what it is, what it's made out of. eventually, when I was on my search, I came across this website called Rubber Slug. Not sure if you're aware of it or not, but
I am. I am.
it was a website created back in the early 2000s to showcase animation art or just artwork in general. And it wasn't only Dragon Ball. There was other shows like Sailor Moon, Pokemon, Yu Yu Hakusho, like all those animes back then. So I came across that website, and being a Vegeta guy myself, like I just knew Vegeta had to be my first cell, first piece. And of course, like everybody else who's a Vegeta fan, their favorite guy is usually Majin Vegeta out of
Typical.
the favorite forms, right?
Yeah.
So I think I still have an old picture of it on my rubber slug. Let me pull it up here.
Yeah, I found Rubber Slug not too long ago and spent a solid 2-3 days just looking at as many people's collections as possible just to see what existed.
You'll be on there for hours looking at old collections, and it's sad because the site is pretty broken now where you can't even email people anymore. Like
Mhm.
the feedback feature on it just doesn't work anymore because it was coded back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Here, I'll
Yeah,
show you.
that's where, like, I mean, outside of Mandarake, that's where I look to, like, just see what existed. And even the deep dive I've done, which I'm sure there's a lot more to do, I just feel like there's so many missing key moments and, like, huge moments that we just either don't exist anymore or they're in toy or wherever they are.
I always say they're hiding in Japan somewhere in some dude's attic
Yeah.
collecting dust. And
What?
one day they'll unearth. But here's the cell I had.
Nice.
It's him spitting out blood. I think that's during their fight, him and Goku.
Yeah.
But yeah, back then, oh god, what did I pay for that? I think it was like 350 euros.
Wow.
Like
Okay, that's actually higher than I expected, but
10,
yeah.
yeah, about 10 years ago. I want to say that's what I paid, which
Okay.
was at that time that was really expensive, right?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's the shocking thing 10 years ago, like, I mean, I'm sure that piece would, being Majin Vegeta, would probably be 3,000, 4,000, somewhere around that.
yeah,
But
easily.
that's honestly, just in my opinion, my personal opinion, people can disagree with me, but that's not even that much of a growth, I feel like, in 10 years for a collectible like this. And
Yeah.
I'm completely biased, but
I feel like
yeah.
it depends on the piece, the character, the
Yeah.
scene, condition. Like there's a lot of variables that go
Yeah.
into it. Like this SS3, for example, it's from the Fusion Reborn movie, movie 12. I think I paid $120 for that back
Wow.
then. Now that's easily over a $2,000 sale.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy some of these pieces, what they went for and what they go for today.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And I think obviously a lot more eyes are getting on it with Heritage doing auctions and
Yeah.
more people getting into it. And I mean, the prices I've been paying, I've been told is way too much, but I'm just trying to secure cool pieces because like I said, like I went through Rubber Slug, right? I went through Mandarake, and there's just like a selection, like there's a handful of like really, really cool pan cells. Like that's all I really care about is getting the full body shot, like that stuff, right?
Pan Man, right?
Pan Man. And like obviously like the father son Goku Kamehameha Gohan, like that's out there somewhere. Probably not going to get it
I
ever.
know who has it, but I've already tried. Trust me.
And getting that is going to be a different beast. But like, there's not a lot that I feel like that's the thing, like available, right? At least for now, until they start coming out and people are selling them because the prices are going up. But yeah, so your first piece was a Majin Vegeta. Where did you buy it? Like you bought it off of somebody on Rubber Slug? Was that?
Yeah, so I came across a French collector on Rubber Slug, and he had a ton of pieces. He still has pieces till this day, actually. And he was willing to sell it to me because I think he collects a series called Saint Seiya. I don't know if you heard about it.
Is this Theory?
No, different
Oh,
French guy.
okay.
His name was Gale. Um, and the only reason why he sold it was because he was saving up for a different piece from the series Saint Seiya.
Yeah.
And he gave me the opportunity, and I had it. So
Well,
I bought a lot of cool stuff from that
what
guy.
what's the deal with Saint Seiya? Because like I like they look. I've never heard of it. The pieces look cool. Like I understand like the whatever vibe of the show. I've never watched it. It looks cool. But that's the same case with like with Theory. Like he's like, yeah, I just want Saint Seiya stuff, and he sold me his Dragon Ball Z cells. So
I,
I
I I think it's a different demographic or different generation. Like
okay.
that's definitely not a show I grew up on, but yeah, I agree with you. I think it does look pretty cool. I just I just have no interest in
Yeah, I think it obviously just comes down to personal interest, right? So
yeah,
well,
what you grew up on and stuff like that.
okay, that's the other thing too. Like these guys in France, um, it seems like some correlation between like art is obviously a big thing there. Did that kind of just? Do you think that was the connection to there being a bunch of like European and French collectors for this because it's similar to art, I guess, in a way, more so than like a card?
Yeah, I think that could be one of the factors, right? I think the biggest factor, in my opinion, is what you grew up on. Now, everybody didn't have the same dub as each other,
Uh,
but
yeah,
everybody experienced the show in their own way, and show left an impact in their own respectable ways. But yeah, the Europeans, they got a lot of cool stuff, man.
yeah. I don't know what.
Really jealous.
Yeah, trying to get it over to the States. I'm doing my
Yeah.
best. There's still quite a bit out there, but um, I can't. Yeah, I'm getting all my stuff framed. I know people hate it, but I love it. So putting it on my wall so I can look at it. Doing it carefully and
Do
correctly,
what makes you
hopefully.
happy, but
Yeah, take care of them. Okay, so Majin, so Vegeta was your guy. You jumped in with a decent chunk of change to start off 10 years ago. What, like, did that just lead to nonstop buying for a little bit? How much did you buy, like, right off the bat?
yeah, I'd probably like once you start, there's that honeymoon stage where you want to get the next character, the next piece right after the next, right? And you just want to buy as much as you can, or because you're so excited discovering this new hobby, right? So I mass emailed people on Rubber Slug. I joined. There's like a Facebook group like for cell collectors. It's still there till this day. It's just not as active anymore. Yeah, I would literally spam the heck out of people trying to ask them like, hey, do you have any of this stuff, or do you have any of these characters from these scenes? And I just my go-to thing was like portrait shots. So
Okay.
if it was a nice portrait shot of a character where it shows like a lot of detail of the character's like close-up face, that was my niche. But now I've kind of diverged into hand stuff like yourself. I just love the presence of
Hmm.
big pieces. I just think they're so cool, man.
I mean, that was a good initial, I think, gut. I mean, I like portraits too. I think a lot of people like portraits still because it's just like a solid depiction of like the character and um I think that's pretty cool. I don't know, yeah, the pan though, the size is honestly what got me for it because it's truly art and it's like the bigger the better in my
Got that
opinion.
wow factor, man.
Yeah, and they tend to be I mean they tend to be rare it seems. They tend to be there's like one shot of the pan. There's not like multiple scenes of them
Right.
turning or whatever, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. At least
Well,
from my very short-lived experience so far.
yeah.
Um,
No, definitely. Like think of it like these pieces are so big, right? So most of the time in studios, they would trim them or cut them down to save on space.
hmm,
So to get one that's like unmolested or that's full size, it's pretty rare to get,
yeah,
especially in good condition. Whether that's a Cell, a Genga, a Duga, whatever it is. Yeah, they're special pieces, man.
Yeah, they're awesome. I'm loving it. So, were you buying and selling a lot in the beginning? What was the market like when you first started?
When I first started, let's say a grail cell today that's worth 5 figures would probably be worth like maybe 1 to 2 thousand back
Okay.
then. So um, I remember one that got away from me was Trunks going Super Saiyan for the first time. When you first see that pan or that shot of him going up and his hair's glowing,
Yeah.
I think my buddy Zhao with low class Saiyan on Instagram,
Hmm.
he's got that shot now. But that piece at the time back then sold for about I think 900 to $1,000, and that piece is easily about 10,000, if not more. But back then, I was mainly just hoarding, buying what I could see, what I liked. Now I tend to sell things more if I receive good offers for them. My collecting or my buying has definitely slowed down a lot now. It's gotten expensive. It's just it's crazy, this hobby now. There's too much competition now on auctions. Like
Hmm.
everything is climbs up there, but you end up getting a good deal here now and then, whether that's privately or an auction that gets misread.
Yeah, I mean, it's still early. Like, it's still a lot of unknowns. Like, there's no authentication companies. There's no like you're just trusting the provenance of it. Like, it's
Yeah,
super early still, just in the typical like collectible life cycle. I feel like. I mean, these things are 30, 40 years old. Other ones much older with like Disney and stuff. But yeah, there's so much to it that is like unknown, risky, and that's the high risk, high reward period of like what's going to happen. But
that's
you
just
know,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
get it. I get it though. Like it's to spend a lot of money on something that you can't really know. Well, you can and can't know for sure if it's real. Like what you could do is just match it with the screen, right? You just match the lines up. If all the details look the same, chances are it's pretty good. Um, you got to imagine with back in the day, like there was thousands and thousands of these pieces in studios for each episode, right? So they're not going to create a certificate of authenticity for each frame when they have all these storage issues. Like a lot of this stuff was treated as trash and they threw it out or gave it away. So, I mean, Mandarake sometimes releases these certificates, whether you believe that or not, but they've been around for quite a while where it's a trusted source, but I feel like the more you collect in this hobby or just the longer you're in it, you pick up on things like with the frame notations, the frame matching, the line fading on cells. There's a lot of factors that go into it.
yeah, I mean, it's fairly easy, I guess, to pick up on that. And if you're coming across a grail that is like pristine, it's probably not not
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah.
So there's some basic common sense to it.
Why is Goku's hair blue?
Yeah. I recorded with Stray Flexin with Yaniv before this, and we've talked a lot about kind of the basics of all that. So it's yeah, I mean, it's a lot of learning and careful and just not being dumb about who you're buying from, where you're buying from. But
Exactly.
I do love those certificates from Mandarake. Like, while some people may not care, I mean, I think it adds some sort of, obviously, some value, some provenance of where it came from. And um like that King Cold piece that I have, like, you can go at the past auction, it's sold twice on there before, and you can
Yeah.
see the exact damage on the
Yeah.
same picture. So it's like, okay, this thing is perfect. Like, this is the one that sold 10 years ago, and it's probably, the damage is hard to replicate. So
Well, and they
um
they give you that money back guarantee too, right?
I who knows? Do they?
Oh, I think
It's written
here
on there.
I have
It's
one right here, actually.
yeah, it's written on there. But they're not giving me the they're giving the money back on what the last sold was, probably, right? Oh,
So this
nice.
is the one I got for the Genga. Yeah, it says
Hmm.
right down here. In case the item is proved to be counterfeit, we guarantee the price of the auction.
Okay, so yeah, back
There you go.
back to the auction of when it last sold, I guess, or
Yeah,
when that is dated. So
yeah, yeah. You can't come back 10 years later and say, "Hey, pay me what it's worth now."
yeah, so that's, I guess there's some kind of insurance claim if I ever need one. But um, so yeah, I guess like in the very beginning, then, like you were hoarding quite a bit. Were you still like selling then? Were people buying from you? Were you trading? Like, was it easy or was it fairly difficult because it was just this rubber slug website?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a lot harder to sell pieces back in the day. Like, I wasn't as into buying and selling as I am today. Back then, people didn't really post this stuff on Instagram. The main sources was like Rubber Slug, uh, Facebook groups. There was an old um, anime forum called, I think it was Anime Beta or Cell City or something like that.
Hmm.
A lot of people would sell through those channels, so
Yeah.
you don't get as much interaction networking as you do today with Instagram.
Yeah, that's where I found that forum. That's where I found the past owner of the father son Kamehameha. So
Yeah.
doubt he'll ever respond to an email, but
Eh,
if it is the same guy, I don't know. But got to track it down somehow. Which I know Brandon mentioned it in a video the like a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
um,
the guy who has those, he actually has two of them. So
I
he
heard.
has there's two pans of the final. I think funny enough, he actually used to live in Toronto near me,
Hmm.
and I think he's some brain surgeon. Money to him is probably not an issue,
Yeah,
so it's just one of those keepsakes.
yeah. I mean, it's pretty epic. I hope it's still in good condition.
Yeah, I know it'd be such a shame.
Because there's, I mean, speaking of like, your Majin Vegeta, everybody's Majin Vegeta fixation. There's like, you'll see one guy on Rubber Slug from, if you ever, I don't know who it was, but he just has crazy Majin Vegeta cells like pinned to his wall with like
Yeah,
thumbtacks. Um, and I mean, that's just how it was like treated then, I guess. It wasn't, there, like you said, there were thousands of these things. These were not really rare by any means because there was so much of it. Um, and it was cheaper, so people didn't care as much. But yeah, obviously now that's how these things are created into a much bigger thing because they're treated poorly. They were free at one point, nobody wanted them, and now people want them, and they're falling apart, and they got holes.
yeah,
So it is a scary thing to, I guess, invest in, right? Like you get the
yeah.
scientific vinegar syndrome and all this stuff that can set in and deteriorate over time. But I'm kind of
There,
bullish.
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's definitely those concerns. I think if you store them properly, in a binder, or you let them breathe every now and then, you don't expose them to sunlight for hours on day, like they're gonna easily outlast. I get the whole lore about sketches and having them framed. You can hang them on your wall and not have to worry about that stuff. They can still fade, I guess, but yeah, I feel like a lot of collectors are shifting towards sketches now because of that frame they have.
It's just fear, and I mean
It is.
also general interest too. Like I like the sketches a lot. I mean the reason, like that Trunks pan that I bought, like it had vinegar syndrome. It was labeled as vinegar syndrome. I bought it because it had the sketch, and the sketch is sick. It's got color in it. It's blue, like of the Saiyan armor and everything. Um, so but to me the cell, obviously a perfect, like the matching background, all that stuff. Like the final piece that was used on the show is the ultimate part of it, I think, even though it's done by just some random employee or whoever did the painting and all that. But that being, like you said, a part of the show that everyone watched and loved, it's crazy to me. When I found out that existed too, it just blew my mind.
How did you discover the hobby, or what got you into it?
Yeah, so my good friend Sean, Squeaks Game World, we used to have a podcast together, and we just love we became friends over cards in the business of cards. And we used, we'd buy a ton from Yahoo Japan and all that stuff. And I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan. He's a big One Piece fan, and we were just like talking about stuff, and we discovered manga and like the original Shonen Jumps, and like what's going on with this, because like he has like a first print Harry Potter, like Philosopher's Stone, like rare stuff, right? And okay, what else can we get into? I don't care about comic books, sure, Captain America's cool and all that, but like I want the original Dragon Ball. So bought a bunch of fake Dragon Ball Shonen Jumps and wasted a bunch of money there. But we found that, and then we started diving in deeper, and I think he brought up animation cells or like sketches, and we discovered that. And I like I said, I bought that Itachi, and then I never did anything else again because I wasn't educated enough on it. All my money was going into cards, my card business, and those typical fears of like, how do I store this thing? How do I take care of it? I don't know.
Right.
So I didn't explore. I was just like, this is not what I need to do with my time and my money right now. And then in 2023, I went to Japan, and I went to Nakano Broadway and went to the shop there that everyone knows and talks about. And he just had all these animation cells, and I got hooked. So went to the Dragon Ball Z books, bought a SS3 Goku, bought some coolers, bought a Super Saiyan Vegeta. And yeah, from there I was pretty hooked. But again, still didn't like dive in and figure out where to truly like buy the stuff, what pieces are out there until this year. And
Yeah.
that's when I dived in so deep, because I knew I was looking at them, and what happened was Brandon posted that Super Saiyan 2 Gohan that he bought from Mandarake, or somebody posted it, like, this just sold for $15,000 or whatever it was. And I was like, I can't believe I missed out on that. Like, that's my character, that,
That's your boy?
of the three favorite characters of Majin Vegeta, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and Broly, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, it would be my favorite. So the fact that I missed that, I was pissed. And I went to Mandarake to see what was like still being auctioned, and that Trunks was there, and I got the Trunks, and then it just went downhill.
Not a bad consolation prize.
No. I thought it would go way cheaper because of the Vinegar Syndrome, but it didn't.
But
so
those big pieces, man, they hardly ever come up.
Yeah.
When they do, like, at that point, condition doesn't matter as much when it comes, just because of the pure presence of those pieces.
Yeah, I mean,
those scenes are.
Yeah, and it looks great still. It's not like it's ruined. But then I started talking to like you and bro Namath and all these other guys, and then I went down the rabbit hole of Rubber Slug and found the Instagram guys, and I found Theory, and he was open to selling stuff, unfortunately, but fortunately, I bought 3 pieces from him. Then Yaniv sold me a couple pieces, actually 8 pieces, I think, at this point.
Cleaned them out.
Yeah, so I felt like I really believed in this stuff. I love it. I think it looks incredible. And I was like, I'm just going to go hard on this and see what happens. So I'm taking a massive risk, but I truly believe in it. Like, I think the next 5 years, it's going to be even crazier than what it is. And with technology, the way that it's going, I mean, honestly, that's a big confidence piece, was ChatGPT. I would talk to this thing nonstop about animation cells, and I'm like, you know what? This is probably smart enough that we're going to get to the point where we can preserve these things forever in some way, just based off of technology. And where that goes. So
I agree, man. It's one of one. Everything's one of one. Like it's you have this, nobody else has it. It was used to make the show. You know, there's the beauty of the art in itself. You can display it. It's got a lot of good things going for it. I've been doing it for this long. I If I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't be doing it for this long. Like it's yeah, it's a great hobby.
yeah, no, it's good that you've been able to stick through it. I mean, through any sort of raise in prices over 10 years, people sell out and get out. So yeah, let's bring up some painful memories. You said that you missed out on that trunks. What else have you missed out on, or what have you bought and sold that might be like huge today? Because I've got a ton of those with cards, but
Yeah. Here, let me look up my archive on Instagram.
oh yeah,
It'll show
actually,
me.
I'm gonna pull it up too. That's always the difficult thing too, is a lot of these guys who have this stuff, who have posted it, no longer have it. and
Yep.
and getting in touch with someone on Rubber Slug or those forums is so difficult, that it's just been hard to track down some stuff.
Here's
I mean, you've got that.
speaking of SS2, here's a Genga I used to have.
Oh,
Sorry, one second.
yeah. That's sick.
When he grabs the sensu bag out of Cels' hand, he's
Yes.
like, can it?
There's not. I mean, that was a short-lived time for Super Saiyan 2 go on to be on screen. So, as far as like rare characters, he's got to be pretty rare. Do you still have that Super Saiyan 3 Goku with this hole in his shoulder?
Yeah. Here, funny enough, I brought it
Oh,
to show just everybody. Here.
Yes, pull out some stuff. This thing is huge and it's so detailed. It's got blood on it. Oh, man. What's the size of this thing?
So here, let me get my ruler out real quick.
Because so like this Kid Buu is massive.
Yeah.
The dragon, the Shenron, is pretty big. But like that looks even bigger.
It looks bigger because it's in the frame,
Yeah.
but the piece itself, it's probably about 10 by 16 inches.
Okay. That's fairly.
So it's probably like, I want to say maybe two cells stacked on top of each other, like normal standard size cells. Maybe a smidge longer.
Gosh, that's so cool. Because this King Cold is about 17 and a half by like 13. Like, yeah. So a little bit smaller. This is my favorite one by far.
That piece is nuts, man.
When I saw this one, I'm like, that's I need it. And I know it's probably not the favorite character of a lot of people, but I always thought King Cole was like the coolest thing ever. Frieza's dad, like, are you kidding me? Frieza's the most epic villain, and then I mean he sucked and died instantly.
He brought his dad to beat up the Saiyans.
It was so. I wish there was a longer, bigger story with King Cole.
For him.
Maybe they'll do a movie. They'll do a little throwback movie for King Cold's reign.
Right? That'd be pretty cool, man.
I mean, that's an arc that I don't think's been explored, or at least that I know of. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, because that's really the only time they mention him during the whole show, right?
Yeah.
The first time discovering him, and you never see him again after that, obviously. But yeah, I definitely think they should give a lot more characters fair time.
Yeah, should be pretty cool. So that Super Saiyan 3 Goku, where did you get that?
So me and another collector, so he has the cell of this shot, and during that time, we bought I bought the sketch, he bought the cell at the same time from the collector. He just wasn't interested in sketches at all.
Hmm.
Lucky for me, I was happily going to say yes. I was going to say no to this. Actually, you know him. It's low class Sand Warrior Jock.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he bought the cell. I got the sketch. I think that was about say 4 or 5 years ago. It's been hanging on my wall ever since.
That's awesome.
It's
Wait. Oh, do you still have the Super Vegeta pan? Did we talk about this? I forget because I need to match my trunks. I think you wanted a lot for it, which is completely fair.
okay.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Now, this one's a big one. This one I'd say is
Well, that one's like taped, right? That's two.
that's like 2.5 or something.
Jeez.
The card to go with it.
Oh, that's epic.
Somebody had this on eBay and I sniped it.
What'd you get it for?
2,000 or something.
2,000. Wow. I mean, it's way bigger than my trunks, but I want to find. So that's a piece I have not seen from all my researching. Is the pan shot of Super Goku in the hyperbolic time chamber when he turns super buff.
Okay.
I have not seen that pan shot in anyone's collection.
No, I haven't seen that full pan either. I've seen
I've seen the top half.
The top half of it, but that full size one I've never seen it either.
Yeah, maybe it was cut and destroyed, but I want the trio. I want the Trunks, I want the Vegeta, and the Goku. There's not really a Vegeta that is like similar. The Goku would be very similar, I'd imagine. But I watched the series of Vegeta at that time, and there wasn't really a pan shot that would be similar to him like powering up like they are.
What about the end of this episode? He goes Super Vegeta for the first time. There's that pan of him going like this with his head down.
Actually, yeah, that would probably be the closest one. Yeah, and that one's out there. I forget. Somebody has that. At least the Cell. I think I've seen it.
Maybe.
Yeah, that might be the one. And then Goku is. Who knows? So, what else are you into other than Dragon Ball? Do you have other stuff? Did you buy other stuff or?
Yeah, I mean, I dipped into cards for a little bit. So back in 2019, I bought a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh graded stuff. I grew up on Yu-Gi-Oh and played the game and whatnot. And after in 2020, once I kind of re-sparked my love for the Cell hobby, I quickly got out of the cards again and did what you did and bought more pieces. I also dip a little bit into graded video games. I'm not huge into them. I just buy the games I grew up on playing and hanging on my shelf. And which is kind of similar to art in a way, but I like old video game promo posters. Back in the day when they would release a poster in a GameStop or EB Games or something in their store. I like collecting those. Kind of cool, you see like the release date from back then.
Yeah.
Exclusive artwork. Neat stuff.
Yeah, get the random sponsor on it, whether it's like Pizza Hut or whatever. Yeah, whatever store it's at. That's pretty cool. Okay, well, Yu-Gi-Oh's rough. I never played Yu-Gi-Oh, but I always buying and selling Yu-Gi-Oh has just never been a very interesting thing to me, and it doesn't seem too fun for people. Obviously, I'm spoiled with Pokemon, but my Dragon Ball Z card collection is pretty vast with score because I love matching the score card with the Cell. I don't have too many of them. This Goku is one. but there's not too many that I have yet that are like matching to a card. Other than that Goku pan that I have, the Super Saiyan. When he's
From that tournament with PyCon, right?
yeah. So that's actually one of the like the ultra rares, one of the like really top cards of score. So ideally I would get all of those. I've seen someone had the Piccolo, but
I used to have it. The ultra rare
yeah,
scorecard.
yeah,
I used to have the pan sketch for that.
yeah.
Then I think I sold it to Josh, and then Josh gave it to somebody else.
It's amazing how quickly this stuff is moving around. So what's your like goal now? I mean, obviously the market has changed like dramatically. Are you like it's hard to buy like the crazy pieces, but are you still collecting like a certain character? Are you trying to like save up for a big piece? What are your goals?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a piece in sight right now. I was actually talking to the guy with the Majin Vegeta Harmony cell. He, the guy who has it is actually brokering it for some dude in Japan. So it never sold on Heritage.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you knew that or not. If you go back to the listing, it says not sold. And the guy is willing to sell it for 6 figures, but it's more of a pipe dream at this point. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But yeah, I'm just kind of waiting my turn to see what comes to the market, what catches my eye. Nothing really in specifics right now, but I find that the longer I've collected, the more picky I get now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just buy anything Vegeta or
Right.
whatever comes up in sight, but yeah, I'm more focused on the more higher end stuff now.
Yeah, I think that's
I don't
important.
mind waiting.
Like it's so easy to fill up your collection with just like really cheap, pieces that are accessible. Like it's good to like if you need to get it out of your system and get one of every character, like yeah, you can go pick up each character for a couple $100,
Oh
right?
yeah.
But as a collector, like knowing what I've done with Pokemon and how I chose to go about this hobby was just like only buy big pieces and hopefully it works out. But yeah, that Harmony cell, which I've never seen a Harmony. I know that there's like like Smile Grimer has that one with Grandpa Gohan.
That's incredible.
Like when that one sold, the Vegeta or didn't sell. I didn't even know that like what a Harmony was. So yeah, I have heard about that. I would assume that it's still for sale, but I'm sure they don't want to let it go for what it didn't sell for.
Yeah,
And
definitely not.
finding those just seems to be like those seem to be the rarest of all, right? As Harmony cells. I know there's one of Goku and Gohan fighting in the hyperbolic time chamber.
Yep, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I would love that one. But I've already been told like it's just impossible to find these, so I haven't really bothered looking.
There is, yeah, because it's usually like the last frame in a cut, or it's like an episode ending cliffhanger, or it's like a really important action shot. And what's special about those pieces is all the paint is on the background, so the cell part is just lines. You got
Yeah.
the lines and the background. So it's really cool the way they do it, and because because they're usually made for those ending shots or cliffhangers. Typically, that's the only one, right? There's not multiple frames.
Yeah, it's so like I guess they'll last longer, right? They're not on that whatever it's called. They're on the cell, so there's no vinegar.
Paint on the cell itself, just the line.
Yeah, so hopefully it's the better version that will last longer. It's like a real painting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I was ripping a Ganga or Duga or whatever off the back of one of my cells because it was stuck.
Oh,
And when I did that, it pulled off a chunk of the paint, but
oh no.
cleanly, right? It came
Yeah.
off cleanly. So I feel like there's a realistic way to just like remove the entire painting cleanly and avoid any vinegar syndrome in the future. Not that that would be a smart thing to do. Do not do that.
Yeah, it's either you save the cell or the sketch. You can't save them both,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
It
Learned
was
that the
just
hard way.
It was just a shot of Super Saiyan Vegeta. It's okay. I'll be all right.
Is that all?
Yeah. So with Rubber Slug, that being kind of the early thing, right? And I mean, it's still running. Like you can still go up and look at it and look at people's collections, which is fun. And like there's every anime possible on there with people with collections. What was like? I know that forum you mentioned, like whatever it was called.
There's two, I think. There's Cell City and Anime Beta or Anime Beta or something.
Something like that. That sounds yeah. There just hasn't that everyone just kind of like that stuck around. Did they just transfer over to Instagram? Was there never like those guys that you were talking to 10 years ago? How many of them have survived and are on Instagram versus like just completely stopped engaging with?
Just gone. Yeah. No, there's still a few around. Like Theory was one of them. That Gale guy's still around. A lot of these people, I think either they've left the hobby now or they're more so lurkers.
Yeah.
The Facebook groups. Yeah, some old guys like Cammy or Camille or Minouche on Rubber Slug. I don't know if you've seen his stuff before.
Yeah.
He had one of the best like movie 12 collections ever with a bunch of Gogeta stuff. I think he might be gone now.
Like, did he sell out? Did he like?
I think he sold a big portion of his collection. Yeah.
Yeah.
He kept a few that were special to him, but yeah, it's there's a lot of the old collectors I find are gone now, except for maybe a small handful.
Okay.
At least in the Dragon Ball show or series, but I can't speak for the other stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. I mean, that's the kind of I'm going through that now. I mean, I look back at a lot of the people I used to talk to about Pokemon cards that just don't do it anymore. Do you know the story of like how these got out? I hear like, oh, they got stolen or they were thrown away in dumps, taken out of the dumpster, or obviously Toei like archives, or these companies will archive some of their stuff and probably sell it for charity or sell it for something. But a lot of the stories, or most of the stories I hear, is that it was either stolen or thrown out. Do you know more about that?
From what I've heard from other collectors, they would have like little events back in the day, or some of them got out from these little events that they would have where they would just sell them in bins for like pennies on the dollar. Other times they would be stolen, like you said, or animators that worked on the show just kept them for all these years, and then they eventually sell on Yahoo or wherever they get rid of them. Yeah, I wish I was around, 20, 30 years ago in this hobby, but there's only a few collectors I know who've been collecting that long. Still deal to this day or collect. Anime Bunka.
Yep.
Anime Bunka shop. Yeah, I think he mentioned he got his first Dragon Ball cell in 1992 or 93.
Wow.
Which is crazy. That's when I was born.
Yeah.
And yeah, he used to travel a lot to Japan, and I remember him telling me and Josh, like, yeah, he would go to these events back in the day, and you can just find cells in these bins. It's crazy.
Wow. How's his English? Would he be a good guest for this?
It's a great question.
I've bought from him. I talked to him here and there. I got the perfect cell from
Oh
him.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Enrique's an awesome guy.
yeah, he's a nice guy. He's very like he'll talk with you and not like he's not gonna rip you off or anything. And so he's cool. I bug him every now and then to see like what's coming down the pipeline, see what he has before anyone else sees it or before he puts it on his website, I guess, because I want first dibs. But that's crazy. Like, yeah, I was born in '93, so no chance I was going to Japan to buy this stuff.
He always tells me we're all ants compared to the Japanese.
Yeah, I can't
We
imagine what they
can't
have
even
still.
compete.
Even now, like they still have crazy collections.
Well, I mean, I never thought in my collecting life I would ever own a piece from episode 95, Goku's transformation.
Oh, yeah.
And this piece came out earlier this year. Let me just pull it up to show you here.
Well, didn't one just sell on Yahoo?
From 95?
That headshot of Goku, I think it sold for like 10 grand.
Yeah, that was from, I think that was from 101.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay, now this is getting in the weeds that I'm not even exploring of like, okay, this episode being the first episode of Goku turning Super Saiyan, like any shot from this episode is huge. You know, is that?
Yeah, 95 is like the episode of Dragon Ball where Goku turned Super Saiyan for the first time.
Yeah.
And just want to show you this.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So this is literally the shot of Frieza after you see Goku transform for the first time.
Yeah.
Here's the A1 shot of it.
That's awesome.
I saw that pop up. I was like, that I gotta have it.
So like even that, like some shot, even of Frieza around episode 95 is considered pretty sought after.
Oh yeah, man. When it's from that scene, that's like pinnacle of the show, right?
Yeah.
That's what started a lot of animes. That's what gave us chills when we were kids. That's the scene you want.
I was always more of a fan of the Cell Saga, that Trunks Android Cell Saga. Those are my favorite times. So that's what I mainly focus on. I definitely understand, but I don't think I would shell out. I mean, that piece of Goku, from I guess a couple episodes later, 10 grand for a portrait shot of him early Super Saiyan days. It's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I'd rather have a full body shot of Cell or whoever,
Yeah, I'm the same way. There's big scenes throughout the whole show, like this scene, Kamehameha, Majin, all that stuff. But I would have to agree with you. I think Cell Saga was the best saga out of all.
Yeah, I think Cell is literally the greatest villain ever created in like the history of media. The way they made him and why he died and everything, I think it was perfect. Like Perfect Cell was literally perfect. They did everything right with him. I heard that they didn't want to like bring him back too much because he was so hard to animate with all of his spots. Yeah.
I heard that
too. So that's kind of funny. It's weird. You'll watch the show. Like if you start collecting this stuff, you just watch the show completely differently. Like I just watch it so intently. Now I'm not really paying attention to what's going on, but I'm just like looking at every scene, which scene is the best. That like, I want that scene. I want to buy that scene, or like seeing how like looking at Cell's spots. Like how are these changing? Are they animating it perfectly? What's going on? Like it's a whole new experience of watching the show. I'm back up to like the Buu saga now, or I guess the Majin saga. I haven't gotten to Buu yet. So it's it's fun to rewatch after getting into the hobby and like owning pieces of it too. It's pretty interesting. But what else? as far as Cels, as you said, you got into Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you got into video games. As far as like animation Cels, did you collect any other ones? Or did you collect Yu-Gi-Oh?
So Yu-Gi-Oh. So no, but Yu-Gi-Oh is they only made cells for Yu-Gi-Oh called Season Zero. So the original show we grew up as a kid, like I believe there's only sketches available for that show. There's
Like
no
Naruto.
cells. Pardon?
That's like Naruto, right?
Yeah,
Naruto doesn't have,
yeah.
yeah.
There's only Ganga and Duga of that series. However, there was a Japanese Yu-Gi-Oh called Season Zero, which they did make cells for, and that stuff is very rare. That's like possible to find.
Yeah.
I think my buddy Josh Zeno's Gala, he still has like a couple of sketches from Season Zero. It never comes up. In terms of other series though, like I'm starting to branch out into other stuff. I'm collecting a bit of Digimon, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool. I want to get into Pokemon, but man, oh man, the prices of Pokemon is astronomical too.
What do you know about Pokemon? Like,
I just watched like the first season stuff
yeah. But
and
like
then the
what
plateau
as
stuff.
as far as the cells, like what do you hear about them? Like I because I don't you don't see too many shots. Or too much out there, it seems like. Um a lot of the scenes were the same of like Pikachu jumping in the air or like Ash with Misty and Brock. Like I've got
Yeah,
a little sketch of Ash with Pikachu on his shoulder and Brock, and then
yeah,
a cell of Pikachu jumping. Like there's a lot of similar scenes, and you see the same scene or same shot like
yeah.
a lot, but there's not a lot of other stuff. People say it got destroyed. Pokemon is holding on to it. Maybe it's in the hands of Japanese collectors, but like, what have you heard about Pokemon cells?
Yeah, man, I'm pretty much in the dark with Pokemon cells as much as you are. Like it's slim pickings out there with Pokemon. I know there's some rubber slug pages I've seen with some crazy Pokemon cells like Mewtwo and Charizard and things like that. But besides that and heritage auctions, like it's not there's nothing out there.
Yeah,
Very tough stuff to find.
yeah, I got to do a deeper dive into the Pokemon ones. I've only looked a little bit, and like I was just seeing the same stuff kind of, and it wasn't exciting. So maybe I got to find some other ones. Because there is that shot on Reddit of the armored Mewtwo, the like layout.
It's a photocopy though. It's not the actual cell.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, if you look closer, you can see like the paper of the photocopy around it.
Oh,
I was fooled by it too, and I looked closer and I'm like, wait a sec, no, this is something's not right here.
okay.
But the fact that that's a photocopy though means that that piece is out there somewhere.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we know like Marco has that Charizard, and
Yeah,
um, there's some epic pieces like that, but um, that will never see the light of day. I feel like for a reasonable price. So yeah, no, it's interesting. I Pokemon, like I think I've done a good job picking up some Dragon Ball pieces. I want to focus and find some cool Pokemon ones, but they just don't seem to be out there. So who knows? Who
never know
knows?
what will pop up.
Yeah, I'm sure
But I love
more and more will come out the higher the prices go, which is never great, but it's good.
what I love about this hobby, man. You just never know what's gonna come around the corner, or as Rick from Pawn Stars says, you just never know what's gonna come in the shop.
Yep. Yeah. It is interesting to hear like talk to you guys who have been in it for a long time to like, yeah, like there's every few years something crazy comes up or there's an auction that's crazy. So it's kind
Yeah,
of funny to like it's just real. I mean, I feel like I haven't missed out on too much over over 10 years, but yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. I'm excited to see where this goes, how this like hobby keeps growing, um and yeah, like what other exciting pieces come up, because I wanna get some more. I think it's it's pretty fun. My office looks awesome with this stuff instead of a bunch of little cards hanging around. So
right.
um, yeah, it's way
Get,
better.
get to make your own museum.
Exactly. I've got a little radar museum here. But dude, this was awesome. Thank you, Eric, for your time. I appreciate you hopping on and
Thanks for
recording
having me, man.
a podcast episode with me. It was great to get to know you. I'm sure we'll be doing deals and talking a lot more. So
For sure.
yeah, everyone be sure to follow. If you're still watching, be sure to follow Eric on Instagram, KeyframeCollector. And stay tuned for some new episodes coming up hopefully soon.